we interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a live edition of Vikings Uncensored, Border Battle version. And we have our correspondent, Brunswick, live at US Bank Stadium, but unfortunately, the game is in Green Bay this week, Lance, not US Bank.
Shit! I was wondering why the stadium was empty.
Anyway,
man, what a win!
Yeah. We have the first of two matchups versus the Green Bay Packers this weekend, Sunday at noon.
No ring light.
No, don't put the ring light on. Sunday at noon. Luck out this year. We get to go to Lambeau early on in the year when it's not 27 below and everything's frozen up, so that's a plus.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what we're about to do to Jordan Love. I mean, I have a feeling we're gonna set him crying home to his daddy, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I know. Our buddy Drew was talking to him a little bit before the show here, and that's him and I were talking. I think Flores is going to have a little something special cooked up for Mr. Love this weekend, but excited to see what he has in store there. But speaking of which, good evening, Drew. Good evening, Doc. Good evening, Dave. Good evening, everybody in the chat. Welcome to a live edition of Vikings Uncensored, our episode 130. We're going to pile up the episode numbers here.
Right. If you haven't, go back and go on a binge and watch our entire catalog of shows.
Yeah. Instead of Netflix and chill, it's VU and Skull.
Right.
Go back and watch some old episodes, see how crappy we were in the beginning, and see how slightly less crappy we are now. So,
right. I'm in US Bank Stadium right now, so that's telling you.
Right.
Enough.
I mean, move it up in the world. Yeah, I mean, I downgraded back to the old school background on mine, but Lance is moving up to US Bank Stadium, so apparently we're doing something. But we don't have enough budget for two of us to have nice backgrounds, so it's Lance's turn now for a while. Anyway, moving on. We have a few news items to hit this week, and then, of course, we'll go into the preview of the Packers game. Yes, that's what she said. But starting off, shortly after the Monday night game, we lost edge rusher Luigi Ballon off of the practice squad. So to replace him, the Vikings signed outside linebacker / edge rusher Quincy Roche, who was drafted in the 6th round by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2021. Good evening, Jared. Good evening, Ray. Roche, he didn't stick with the Steelers, and the Giants picked him up after that. Played 17 games with the Giants, had 36 tackles, including 5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. So got a little bit of experience anyway. little production along with it. So a good pickup anyway to fill the spot of the departed Luigi Ballon. And cool. I mean, I always liked Ballon. I was hoping he was, we could have got more out of him, but he's no longer a Viking. So
he had a hell of a preseason this year too. So I mean,
yeah, I thought he was going to make the 53, but
yeah,
wasn't meant to be, I guess. So, but then rolling into some of the other, a lot of injury stuff going on this week. NFL wide, Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars, questionable. Ryan Tannehill down in Tennessee, he is out. So Will Levis gets the start this week.
Oh,
although they said that both Levis and Malik Willis will play. So I don't know.
Whatever.
What the deal is. Yeah, I don't really care, but it'll be interesting to see if Levis can do anything. He was one of those in the draft that was, widely considered to be possibly going in the top 10, and ended up, falling into the out of the first round. So a lot of questions concerning his character and some of that other stuff. But anyway, he'll get the start for Tennessee this week. Justin Fields officially ruled out for the Chicago Bears. And Tyson's
had a hell of a week last week.
So Tyson's secret agent man will once again get the start this week, seeing if he goes for 2 wins in a row and potentially causing a quarterback controversy in Chicago. But we'll talk about the Bears a little bit more later on when we do our prediction segment. But then also Brock Purdy. Apparently we rattled him enough on Monday night. He is in concussion protocol and questionable as to whether or not he plays on Sunday. Then also Kyler Murray, who came off of the injured reserve list and could play this week, but trending towards probably not till next week. But he was on the injury list this week, so he may be back. Just in time to get a couple of. What's that?
Pop Proto's little tidbit down there on once.
Which one?
The I live 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
45 minutes north of San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco pretty much figured they were just going to walk in here, take a win, and go home. And we punched him in the mouth and sent him home without one.
Right. Right off the bat to that left side of the offensive line, 19-yard run to start off the game was huge.
Yep. And, I mean, I know when that interception happened, when ball got ripped out of Addison's hands, the first thing I thought in my mind is, well, there goes the game. We're not going to be able to recover. We're not going to recover. And it was nice while it lasted the first 2 plays. But all the credit in the world to the Vikings. The defense did its job.
I thought.
Oh, go ahead.
I think Kirk mentally had his best game as a Viking that night. He was able to overcome, that first interception and made a few nice plays off script, which I was impressed by. Made his climbed the pocket, made his way up between 2 defensive linemen and threw a dime. It's things like that. What's that?
So that one throw that he made, you couldn't even see him in the pile, and all of a sudden he comes out of it. The ball comes out and
split the defenders and came out, stepped up in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had it sidearm too, and I believe a no looker. And I was like, "What? Who am I watching here?
Yeah,
who is this guy?" But I mean, Kirk had a hell of a game. The receivers stepped up and made plays, and that defense, like we've said, continues to get better each and every single week. And that's why I'm optimistic for the remainder of the season, because we're getting better as the weeks go on.
Yeah.
And
I thought in San Francisco, that was the best game Kevin O'Connell's called all year.
Yeah, that's the best game he's called so far in his coaching career.
It wasn't perfect, but I thought, a couple of times down the red zone, we kind of got a little cute, but the trying to have Kirk do the tush push, let's not do that.
One of the best, I think, the best complimentary game I've seen in quite some time, as far as in all three phases goes.
Yeah,
minus the extra point miss and the 54-yard or the 50-yard wide right.
Yeah, moved around a bit. Good to see. Absolutely, there, Ray. I think Kirk went out there and he dispelled the Monday night mythos that Kirk Cousins cannot win in prime time. I mean, wasn't it like 378 yards? I think he passed for 2 touchdowns. I mean, Kirktober was in full force on Monday night. So
he looked like an upper echelon quarterback on Monday night, to be honest.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And, like you had mentioned last week, this is the perfect game to really feed off of and a springboard game into, I hate to say it because I don't want to jinx anything, but the softer part of our schedule. And hopefully we can keep stacking W's here because we are a contender. If we can get our shit together, we will contend in the playoffs.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We gotta keep stacking the wins because right now I think we're a half game out of the 7th spot.
No, we're sitting in the 7th. We're sitting in the number 7 seed.
We're in the 7th now.
Yes,
but we're only 2 games behind Detroit for the North. So realistically, we control our own destiny because we still have.
I was just gonna say that technically we control our own destiny from here on out.
But yeah, with that, let's roll into why everybody's here this week for the border battle, Green Bay, Minnesota, version 120-something, 130-something, right around there, times that we have faced the Green Bay Packers over our history. A couple of key injuries to start out with. Earlier in the week, the Packers placed safety Darnell Savage and cornerback Eric Stokes on injured reserve, so they're down a couple in their secondary. Beyond that, Jair Alexander also is been limited all week. Still reported as questionable on the injury report today, along with tight end Luke Musgrave, linebacker Devondre Campbell, and center Josh Myers. Expected to play, but have been on the injury list this week. Guard Elton Jenkins, defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt, safety Zane Anderson, tackle Josh Nijman, I don't know how you say it, but linebacker Preston Smith, wide receiver Christian Watson, and running back Aaron Jones.
That's a big injury report right there.
Yep. Now, that last group of guys that I listed off weren't on the report Friday. They were on Tuesday or Wednesday and Thursday, but they weren't on Friday's report, so they're fully expected to play. On the Vikings side of things, Brian Asamoah is listed as out.
Honestly, Asamoah's been a real big disappointment for me this season, to be honest with you, now that you brought his name up.
He hasn't played much at all. A lot more out of him than what he has. Credit, Ivan Pace for being what he is and playing, but like even last week against San Francisco, Pace only played like 12 snaps.
What did I mention before the season about 3 safety sets this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We ran a lot of 3 safety sets that game.
We played the entire game in 3 safety sets. Metellus, Bynum, and Hitman played every snap on defense.
Yep. I'm really liking the way Metellus is playing right now. He's a good leader, fires that defense up. And you're right, Josh, dear. Brand new season if we get back to 500. Like Ryno said, we control our own destiny at this point. Just keep winning games and we're in. And we could if you want to be honest here, technically the number 1 seed's not out of the question.
It's not. I mean, getting up. We're 3 games back.
No, probably not. But mathematically, we're still the number 1 seed still open to the top 7.
It is.
Teams.
Realistically, I don't think it's realistic, but the North is back in play.
We got Detroit sitting at the number 2 seeded. And, the division is nowhere by any means out of our hands. So
no, and we have the tiebreaker over San Francisco now. So
yeah.
But anyway, finishing off the injury report, Kene Nwangwu is questionable. He's been sick this week, I guess. But Jalen Naylor still questionable. He's on that designated to return off of the IR. I thought maybe we'd see him this week, but I'm going to guess probably not till next week.
I'm really liking that depth in our receiver room. That depth in our receiver room is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody's showing up. They're doing things with Powell this year that they wanted to do last year with Rager, I believe. And it's Powell's, pushing for that number 3 receiver spot, if you want to ask me, to be honest.
Yeah. Brandon Powell played a hell of a game against San Francisco.
Yeah, and he had a hell of a good game the week prior, slippery. So
yeah. Then the other guy, Ezra Cleveland, still listed as questionable. Now, if I'm guessing, I think Reisner probably starts this weekend. And then,
even if Cleveland's ready to go, I think Reisner has that spot locked in now at this point. I think if there's
I wouldn't say it's locked in yet, but I think at the very least they're putting Reisner in a spot where he could take over that left guard spot next year. We'll see what happens after this game, and if he plays as well as he did last week, there'll be some decisions to make. But
you're right, Drew. I was worried about Addison's size for sure, but at this point right now, he's balling, and I did have questions along with a lot of people about his size.
Yeah, I did as well. I mean, I was, you'll see him on the field there. He's very slight to frame, but he's taken some hits and he's gotten right back up from them. So
he has, and he knows how to take tackles. There's guys that know. It sounds silly, but there's guys that know how to take less of a pounding when being tackled.
Mm-hmm.
Favre really knew how to lay down when the heat was coming.
Yeah, but
that's beside the fact. So
right. But yeah, looking at the guys Green Bay's offense. Jordan Love. He started out good the first couple of weeks of the year, but the last couple he has not looked very good. And I think Brian Flores has something stewing in the crock pot, ready to unleash on Mr. Love this week.
If you thought Brock Purdy looked shaky in that second half of that game, wait till you see what we have in store for Jordan Love. I believe this defense is going to get nastier. Even more nasty than what it is, especially once they start getting that confidence going and flowing, which I believe is already happening. I think Jordan Love's in for a long day.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on that. But it's going to be another tough test for our offensive line, who, all the credit in the world to those 5 guys on Monday night. We've given Ingram no end amounts of shit all year.
I like last year he started off slow, but he's starting to come around.
Yeah, it was deserved. A lot of it in the beginning. I mean, we call it like we see it on it, but Ingram played a very good game. The entire offensive line gave up 0 sacks against what's widely considered the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Toots is in the house. Of course, like I said, another tough task this week. We've got, of course, Kenny Clark, who always gives us fits to deal with. Rasul Douglas is good in the backfield there. They're Rudy Ford, their safety's having a pretty nice year. Then, of course, you've got Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, who can still bring the pressure on the rush. Offensive side of things, you've got a good young receiving core over there. You've got Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson. Luke Musgrave, if he plays, is a pretty decent young tight end. You know, he's no Sam Laporta, but he's decent. But you know, it's going to be a task for offensive line again this week. But with that, how about we roll into the tail of the tape for this week? Starting off like we normally do on the offensive side of things, points scored. Minnesota is 13th. Green Bay is 22nd. Total yards, the Vikings are 10th. Packers are 28th. Here's one of the most telling. Well, hold on. Show tunes is your shirt. Passing yards, here's where the biggest discrepancy shows up. The Vikings are 4th in the league in passing. Green Bay is 26th. Rushing, surprisingly, Green Bay is pretty far down on the list as well. Green Bay is 27th in rushing. The Vikings are 29th. Now, a lot of that, I think, has to do with Aaron Jones being out for a couple of weeks, but their offensive line's been banged up. Bakhtiari's on injured reserve. Jenkins has been out, in and out, back and forth. Turnovers. Green Bay 9th best in the league. They don't turn the ball over a ton. I think we can change that this week, like you mentioned a while ago. Vikings, of course, in turnovers. But we did win the turnover battle on Monday, and probably in no small coincidence, won the game. So, but you know, we roll that back over the defense, hoping Cam Dantzler can repeat the performance he had on Monday night. He had a hell of a game.
Bynum.
What's that?
Cam Bynum.
Yeah. What did I say?
Dantzler.
Oh, sorry. Cam Bynum, not Cam Dantzler. This is live, and I just, disregard the doofus that's with the headphones on. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Got on a roll and said Cam, and I don't get that.
Right. Yeah.
Rewind.
Cut that out.
Cameron,
Are we live?
Bynum.
We're live.
Yeah, we're live. We can't cut that part out. Yeah, I will. Roll over to the defensive side of things. Points allowed. Green Bay, 14th in the league. Vikings are 21st. Total yards. Green Bay has given up the 7th fewest. The Vikings 21st. Here's where Green Bay, their defense really sticks out. They're 3rd in the league in pass defense.
Wow.
You know, they got Alexander and Rasul Douglas in the back there. Darnell Savage going out weakens that a little bit. Stokes also there. You know, he plays a fair amount. Vikings though are 20th in passing. Rolling over to the rushing side of things, Vikings are 17th in the league in rushing, so we're right, basically, you know, middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Green Bay is 25th. I think there may be some opportunities in the run game this week, especially if we.
I believe that we're slowly transitioning more into a running back by committee. You're seeing Akers get more carries as the season progresses. I mean, you're even starting to see Chandler get popped in there here and there now too. And honestly, with the backs that we have, that's almost how you have to run it, is with by committee like that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Alexander Madison as a bell cow running back, we tried that, and it didn't work.
Right.
You know, no disrespect to Alex Madison. I like Alex Madison. He's a he's a good back. He's got to be more though the thunder to the thunder and lightning 1-2 punch, not.
He's a good spelling back for sure. I believe so. And you can tell the difference is night and day between Akers' running style and Madison's running style.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Akers is more smooth and precise, and he sees that hole and he hits it. Where Madison's more patient and waits for the play to develop, and then he hits that hole and gets to the next level.
And and we've talked about this in seasons past, whatever too. Madison's vision isn't. He doesn't have that vision to see the openings quite as much. He just kind of hits whatever hole that he's supposed to go into, and apparently we have.
He's out here in one of these seats.
Yeah, he's the only other guy sitting in U.S. Bank Stadium right now. Brother Dave. Then anyway, on to some of the advanced defensive statistics. Penalty-wise, Vikings are 7th. Green Bay is 23rd. Turnovers, the Vikings are basically dead middle of the pack, 15th in turnovers caused. Green Bay has not caused very many. They're down at 30th.
Wow. Well, that's good news for us.
A little dissension among the Vikings report ranks, looks like. Then we get into the
I'm truly hoping that our turnover issues are behind us.
Yeah.
We got all of our dumbass turnovers out of the way in the beginning part of the season. Now let's get our shit together and hold on to the goddamn ball for the remainder of the year.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we drained the bad luck bank when it comes to turning the ball over and stuff like that in those first 4 to 5 games of the year. But yeah, onto the cool statistics here.
Yeah,
Blitz
right.
Percentage, of course.
Beat him up as a child.
Brunswick Battle Royale.
Right.
Blitzing, of course, the Vikings far and away number 1 in the league, still at blitzing at a 56.4% clip. Green Bay blitzes quite a bit though too. They're 9th in the league, and they're at 35.6%.
I got a random thing to throw out there as you're going on here, as I always do.
Yeah.
I think for us as Vikings fans, when we start off slow like we did, we're so used to, if we start off slow, we're just going to fucking lose a bunch of games. I haven't had a season where we've started off slow and we've caught heat. I can't tell you the last time that's happened. But I believe that's this year. We started off, 1-4, and I was ready to, oh my God, what's going on? The fucking house is burning down. But I also know that this team has the talent to be a contender. And I'm just so used to seasons past where we start off slow and we just continue to be slow. Or we start off really hot and then we just drop off the edge of a cliff. So This is different. There's something different there's a different feeling about this team, I believe.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the defense. I mean, now the defense was our Achilles heel last year with Donatel and his 3-high shell pseudo prevent that he ran all the time. I mean, the job that Flores has done to get this defense back to respectable in 7 games time is nothing short of phenomenal.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of it has to do with the aggressiveness of our defense too, I believe. Donatel, like you said, like to sit back and let teams come at him, whereas Flores wants to go out and make a play, get to the ball. So, and we talked about that before the season started too. I believe thoroughly that was one of the best pickups we had in the offseason was getting a hold of Flores and bringing him in as defense coordinator.
Oh, absolutely, no, without question. I was fired up when we brought him in, and he hasn't disappointed. He's done exactly what I thought he was going to be able to do, and the defense hasn't peaked yet, I don't believe.
No, I don't think they have either, and that's what's scary and what's good for us. You know, it should be scary to the rest of the league because this defense is not peaked.
Yeah. I mean, you look at some of the stuff. I mean, you know, some of the concerns we had. The defensive line is still, I think, the Achilles heel, the weak part of this defense. But look at linebackers. I mean, Ivan Pace has been, you know, very good surprise coming in. He's had a complete resurgence this year. You know, we were already.
Bullard's even playing good on the
defensive
defensive line.
To throw him out.
Yeah.
What's that?
Bullard.
Bullard has stepped it up. Last couple of weeks, especially, he's playing quite well.
I was ready to throw his ass off the team too. You know.
Yep.
For sure.
Danielle Hunter's leading the league in sacks right now with 9. You know, if Davenport would have been healthy, some of this stuff, I think it would have made it even more. But, you know, the rotation at the other side has done its job. DJ Wanham has played pretty well, I think, when he's been in there. You know, he pretty much owns the Bears, so he had a hell of a game 2 weeks ago.
You know, I think Justin Jefferson might be coming back, you know, at the right time too, to really give us that extra push to the playoffs. It's going to be nice.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm more optimistic than pessimistic. You know, my levels are higher than what they were last week. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, it sucks that Jefferson's out, but look against San Francisco. T.J. Hawkinson went back to the T.J. Hawkinson that we saw last year and that we expect to see. He had 11 catches.
And like many people have been saying, you know, you got Jefferson 1A and you got S and 1B, basically. They're both number 1 receivers. And it's like back when Indy had Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne running routes out there for him. They're both great receivers.
Yeah, and that's you know, one silver lining out of the whole Justin Jefferson thing being out. It's giving Jordan Addison the opportunity to step up and show what he's capable of, and he showed that Monday night.
Right, and that's why I'm saying the team should be getting scared because we're doing this without Jefferson on the field as well.
Yep. Well,
so we're also figuring things out along the way. I mean, just figuring it out. We're figuring it out is what we're doing.
Yep. Well, here's an interesting little statistic I saw this week. I thought it was pretty cool. Jordan Addison has 6 touchdown catches this year. Every wide receiver taken ahead of him combined has 2.
Yeah, he's making a strong push for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be in the conversation, I think. I mean,
he's doing great things as far as the, you know, putting up production and getting to the end zone. So.
Then speaking of guys, you know, who are having, you know, showing out and stuff, Cam Bynum on Monday night, the kid played a hell of a game. Forced fumble, 2 interceptions, including the game clincher. Defensive player of the week.
Back-to-back defensive player of the week for the Vikings defense.
Yep, Jordan Hicks the week before. You know, Cam Bynum is another guy that, you know, we're sitting there thinking, okay, you know, Lewis Seen's going to come in and take the spot or something, and Bynum's going to go to the wayside. Bynum is making a very strong push, and he's going to be in line for contract extension here before too long. And he fits into this Flores defense very well.
He does, but you can't have too many good players, to be honest. You know,
no,
you can't have too many good players at one spot or anything. I mean, depth is always great too, and the fact that we got medalists, and then even Theo Jackson sitting in the wings, who's got some ability to make some plays.
Yep, and we still haven't really seen much out of Jay Ward this year. He's been in special teams more than anything.
Right,
Lewis Seen can't even get on the field. I
was afraid of that. I didn't like the pick to begin with, and you know this. No. I told you this right when we picked him. I didn't like that pick.
Yeah, Jared Hitman should have won it that week, but he got beat out by somebody who had half the statistics that he did. I forget who it was, but
And that's just telling you this defense is on the up and up for sure.
Mm-hmm. The Lewis Scene experiment is. I'm officially concerned on this one. I've heard rumors from a few sources. The reason why he can't get on the field is because he's not showing what he needs to show in practice. He's slow to read. He's over aggressive as far as overrunning plays and taking bad angles and that kind of stuff. It's not from a lack of effort. It's just he had that light bulb that isn't clicking, where he can make the right calls and the right angles and things like that on the field. And when you got guys playing as well as Bynum and Metellus are,
right? That's just it.
It is what it is.
The best guys need to be on the field. That's just it. The guys that deserve to play need to be playing.
Exactly. We talked about Danielle Hunter, leading the league in sacks. He's got 980 for the career now. He's seventh all time in Vikings history. He only needs, I think it's 6 more to pass Jared Allen.
I agree, Jared. Jared's a little comment on Seton there.
Yeah. Seton should get in the special teams room. He could dominate there if he can't get snaps on D. Yeah, he isn't even playing special teams right now. He's been a healthy scratch the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And
it's not looking good.
When they're putting Theo Jackson out there active over Lewis Scene. I mean, I know they play the different safety spots, but if you're having them out there for special team stuff, I'm officially concerned on Lewis Scene now. I really am.
I believe I don't think we see Scene here next season, honestly. I think it's one of the guys we let go, but we'll see. We've been wrong before. I've been wrong before. So
yeah, and it's entirely possible. Being a first-round pick, a lot of times you get a little bit longer leash. But if you can't even get on the field, that says something right there. Can you turn him? Can you turn him before the trade deadline on Tuesday and get something out of him?
See, I thought about that too, but I just don't know. I just don't know what you can get for him at this point.
Not going to be anywhere close to. I mean, you might get a fifth or sixth round pick for him, maybe.
Right, you'd be lucky to get a 6th or 7th, I think. Just because he hasn't been on the field.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is what it is with Scene right now. Remains to be seen what happens, I guess. So
the fact of the matter is that the safeties that are playing right now are playing really well, including Hitman, who is playing outstanding ball well into his 30s at safety.
Yeah, well, and this past week he had that hellacious pass breakup on Kittle on that one play too. That killed the drive.
Yep.
Had to laugh. I guess he was on. I forget if it was either McAfee's show or Kay Adams. I forget which show he was on. But when he that one hit when he came across, he dislodged that ball from Kittle. Apparently he caught Kittle. Apparently he caught Kittle right in the freaking
dick
nuts when he come there. And they said, or Hitman said, yeah, when Kittle got back up, he said, "God damn it!" He said, "You hit me right in the freaking junk," and he's like, "I'm sorry, that was the only place I could hit you."
Right.
He said, "I felt bad about it." He said, "Because he said I'm a big fan of George Kittle." I said, I felt bad about it, but what else am I going to do?" He said, it's a rough game.
Yeah. Yep. And I seen Ayuk having a hell of a good game against us to start the game. But what I also noticed is we made adjustments and we shut him down second half.
Yeah.
Ayuk was all over us. He was catching passes all over the field. And we were able to shut that down.
Mm-hmm. Now, that kind of leads to one of the spots in the secondary that I'm a little concerned about. Byron Murphy hasn't exactly been what I hoped he was going to be. He's
He's
probably
been better
out.
than P2, I think.
he's kind of right about in that same spot right now. He's probably, Caleb Evans right now, I think, is a better cornerback than Byron Murphy is.
Evans is balling, dude. He really is.
The kid is always around the ball. He's aggressive, but yet he's disciplined and he doesn't usually take bad angles.
And he takes the game seriously, like all professionals should. But you can really tell with this kid that he's happy to be here. He's happy to be starting and playing. I look forward to great things in the future out of Evans going forward.
And Andrew Booth is even starting to step up. I mean, he's getting more playing time because here again, unlike Lewis Seen, Booth is showing what they want to see in practice, and he's earning playing time from that. He played significant snaps against the Bears. Didn't see what his snap count was against San Francisco, but
he had some plays in there. But yeah, that's what confidence does for a team, though, too. And morale building. I mean, when people are playing good, when everybody's playing good, it's just great. So,
yep. I think Green Bay's offensive line is a little bit banged up yet. Especially if the center can't go. What the hell's his name?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Josh Myers. I know I had it in my notes there. I just had to look back for a second. If he can't go, that bodes well. I mean, I'm not convinced that we're going to get much up the middle as far as pressure, but you bring in Jordan Hicks in on the blitz or Ivan Pace coming through there. I think that opens things up.
What I would like to see,
Bakhtiari out there.
Yeah, what I would like to see is to come in this week off of a big win and prove that we can win a consecutive game after a big win. No hangovers, man. No hangovers.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing that concerns me, and it concerns most Vikings fans that have watched this team for any length of time, is that historically we'll go and have a game like we had Monday night against a formidable opponent, San Francisco, and then we'll go up against an inferior opponent the next week and
play down.
Yep.
I feel like we need to go into Green Bay and just embarrass them. That's what I want. I want to go into Green Bay and hang 40 on them.
I would love nothing more than this.
I go on it. So,
but since we're kind of talking about that, how about we roll into our predictions segment for this week? Of course, not only do we predict the Vikings game, but we predict the rest of the NFC North games as well, just to kind of keep tabs on our closest competitors. This week, we are the only non-primetime game for the NFC North. Hey, good evening, Robert. We got a good point here before we start. Have the template now. Got to be prepared to win the lion battles. Kevin's got to stop being a gentleman and smash.
Yes.
Very true.
Yes.
100% true. Absolutely.
Yes. Score. Let them balls hang out, man, for sure.
Put your boot on their throat and do not let up until that final gun sounds at the end.
Because now you got the defense that's going to help you out.
Mm-hmm. But starting off with the NFC North games, Sunday Night Football, the Chicago Bears and their new darling quarterback of the flavor of the week, Tyson Bagent, go into Los Angeles to face the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. What do you think is going to happen there, Lance?
I'm going to go with Chargers. Although Bagent had a great game last week, they're going into LA, and I don't think Herbert's going to let them come in and win. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Yeah, LA for sure. Probably by around 17 or so.
Yeah, I think the Chargers have the potential to go in there and absolutely mop the floor with Chicago. We saw their defense was not very good. I mean, we played poorly against them, but their defense is not very good, I don't think. Now, Bajan at quarterback, he's, for a D2 kid and coming in, he played pretty well last week. He can make more plays. Yeah.
Won an NFL game.
I think he can make more plays in the pocket possibly than Justin Fields has been doing to this point anyway. Robert, good point. Brandon Staley holds the Chargers back. Never underestimate Brandon Staley's ability to make a stupid play or call during the game that can cost the Chargers big time.
You got away with it twice against us.
Yeah. And even though, home field advantage for the Chargers really is not a thing, there's probably going to be more Chicago fans in the stadium than there will be, or at least close to 50-50. I think the Chargers are a much better team, and I think they'll take care of business at home here too. So probably not even close, probably a 2 to 3 score game, I think. But
yeah.
Then we move on to the next game of the NFC North, Monday Night Football, as the Las Vegas Raiders travel to Detroit to take on the Motor City Kitties. What do you think there?
I don't know. The way Baltimore spanked Detroit concerns me. They didn't just beat them by a small amount. They fucking spanked Detroit.
Was it 32 points they lost by or something like that?
Yeah, and that's concerning. Not that Las Vegas is the same team as Baltimore, because they're not in any way at all, shape or form. But Las Vegas could win this game, but I'm not ready to give up on Detroit, and I'm gonna have to go with Detroit here.
Yeah, the Raiders are garbage. Josh McDaniels is not a good head coach. Didn't think he was a good head coach when he was a coach of the Broncos. Questioning whether or not he's even a good offensive coordinator, or if it's the fact that he was the offensive coordinator for Tom Brady for so long that got him the recognition and stuff that he got. I'm starting to really think that was not deserved recognition. Detroit stubbed their toe last week. I think it's going to piss them off a little bit. And, I think they're going to take care of business at home. And this is going to be another one I think probably is not going to be particularly close. Raiders could make a game out of it. I think Jimmy G's supposed to be back this week, so that helps them out a little bit. But there's too many holes on that Raider team to take them seriously on anything.
Yeah.
So I'm going the Lions here as well. Then, of course, the final and the most important game of the weekend is the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Lambeau Field, Green Bay, to take on those stinky, moldy cheeseheads, the Packers. So let's get your prediction here, Lance.
I think what we need to do is exactly what I said earlier. Go into Green Bay and serve the Packers their lunch. I'm talking, we just need to go in and let it roll. And I think we can. And it's what we need to do after that win that we had last week. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, Robert. Something like that. Even 30-10. I don't have confidence in Love at all to do anything against our defense. I think Love's going to have a long day, and we're going to take advantage of that. And teams are going to start taking notice of the Vikings sooner than later. We started off slow, but we're getting hot as the season goes on, and that's exactly what we need to do. Yes, we are better.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't argue with you. I'm a little worried about that hangover off of Monday night. Viking fan PTSD. It's happened to us more than once over the years. But as I mentioned earlier in the show too, I think Brian Flores is going to have a little something special cooked up for Jordan Love. I think they're going to make life miserable for him. He gets flustered in the pocket fairly easily. I look for Danielle Hunter to have a big game here, probably a sack or two. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm saying the Vikings get 5 sacks against Jordan Love this week.
I could see 5 at least 5, at least.
That is the Ryno Spicy hot take of the week. 5 sacks, and I'll parlay it with 2 interceptions as well. So, and I think the Vikings defense is going to step up big. I think the offense, Kirktober is still in effect. I think Jordan Addison is going to have another good game. Hawkinson, again, last week showed that he's hopefully gotten over his case of the yips he's had for a couple weeks there. He's still, second or third in most statistical categories as far as tight ends go in the league. So he's still having a very good season. It's just, he had a couple issues with a few untimely drops there earlier on in the season. But
you know what, though? A lot of players on this team had a few untimely mistakes this season. So
yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Right. I mean, this team feels different, and we're going to continue to get better, and we're going to start winning some games. We are. It's just how I feel, man.
Yeah,
we're getting better, and we're going to do right this weekend by going into Green Bay and stopping a mud hole in their asses.
Mm-hmm. Before we move on, happy birthday, Raymond, and hopefully the Vikings do get you that win for your birthday.
Chuck is exactly right.
Yep, this.
That's what they're going to want to try to do.
Yep. Now Aaron Jones, still don't know if he's 100%, but you still got AJ Dillon, who seems to always have decent games.
I thought we played arguably the best running back in the league very well on Monday night.
McCaffrey is the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
He is right now. I mean, just from everything he can do, he is the best running back in the league. And I'm going to sit back here and change my mind. But yeah,
we have some PFLs on McCaffrey on Monday night, and like you said, he's the best.
Well, yeah, on that forced fumble, and he did have a couple of big plays.
Off of that on run defense, because there were some times where we had opportunities to make plays in the back, and that's another thing that bothers me as a Vikings fan. When we have opportunities to make plays in the backfield, and we let it slip out of our fingers so often, it seems like.
Yeah,
I think so too, Robert.
Yeah, I would agree, and my prediction. I think we're finally going to get that game we win by more than 1 score this week.
Yes.
I think it's to the 14.
Be like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I think it's probably a 14-point win, maybe a 17-point win, somewhere right in that range. I think
every game that we've lost this year, we could have just as easily won, and we hung with the big boys.
Every game we lost this year, we should have won.
Yes.
This team could legitimately be undefeated right now.
We could easily be good enough to represent the NFC, I believe. The talent is here. Like I've been preaching. It's just about getting our shit together and continuing to be consistent and getting what needs to be done.
Yep, absolutely. I agree 100%. So yeah, that's kind of all we got for this week. You guys got anything else in the chat there you want to talk about real quick? We could hit that, but other than that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Helps us out a ton with the metrics. Want to thank all you guys for coming in, joining us live. Love doing these live shows, talking with you guys back and forth in the chat room. Want to give a shout out again out to the Filipino fan club watching over there, Nonoy, Nympha, Phoebe, Jen, Wilma, all you guys over there that follow us and check up on us once in a while. Appreciate you guys way over there doing that as well.
I think Bynum is actually the only Filipino in the NFL.
Cam Bynum is the only Filipino in the NFL, and he actually he brought American football to the Philippines last year. I had a football camp over there, flag football and some of that stuff, and
he really takes a lot of pride in his country, man. For sure, you can just tell.
Well,
carrying the flag around.
He was born in the U.S. I think his mother's Filipino, but and then of course his wife is over there, and he's, as you saw, with the interview on Monday night, he's having some visa issues trying to get her over here as well. But
right.
But yeah, I look for big things from the Vikings this weekend, and I know you do too. But that's all I got. Again, thank you, everybody. So why don't you take us home, Lance?
I mean, I've been saying this since, our first loss against Tampa. I think the best is yet to come for this team. And I still think the best is yet to come. Like you said, I don't think this defense has hit its ceiling yet as far as its ability. I think, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, by the year's end, this defense will be a top 10 in the league. Quarterbacks and the offenses are going to begin to be scared of our defense, I believe. We're no longer the laughing stock of the league when it comes to defense, and that's great. As we all know, the offense has that power, that star power there, that firepower to score points. It's just getting the right formula, which I think started against San Francisco on Monday night, being the best game that Kevin O'Connell has called as a Vikings head coach. I liked it. Great clock management on Monday night, by the way. Following the game where the clock management was kind of questionable. Things are looking good. I have a great feeling about the future of this team this year. I also want to say that to some of those guys that wanted to tank to get quarterbacks, this next draft is full of a lot of talented quarterbacks. Just because you don't got a top 15 pick does not mean that you can't go get your guy. Let's win some games this year. I am far from ready to throw in the towel, especially after seeing that game on Monday night. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep winning. And with that being said, Aubrey, Millie, if you're out there watching, Daddy loves and misses you. Skol.
Have a good weekend, everybody.